Hi, I'm Steve Saylor, I'm blind, and if you're wondering how I'm able to play video games if I'm blind, if you take a look at the video here, you can see exactly what I see when I'm playing video games. This is a very special episode of Blind Impressions because today we're looking at Watch Dogs Legion. Myself, Grant Stoner, and Ben Bayliss from CanIPlayThat.com, we got a chance to preview the game early. We took a heavy in-depth look at the accessibility that's currently available in this work in progress. So today we're going to be jumping into some of the general thoughts that we had about the accessibility of Watch Dogs, including each of our individual disabilities from blindness to deaf and hard of hearing and motor disability, and our thoughts on each of those, and then give our sort of our fun moments that we found in the demo. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the conversation. First off, what did you guys think of the game itself? Grant, we'll start with you.
A solid 7 or 8 out of 10.
Really? Why would you give it that?
So my main issue with Watch Dogs as a whole is there's always so much to do, but not in a traditional open world sense. Like, you're driving, you're meant to keep in hacking vehicles, barriers, drones, people, cameras, turrets, and like oftentimes I get lost and overwhelmed. I'm trying to go toward an objective because I see all the little markers on the map and in my field of view, and naturally I just want to press every single button. But if I do in Watch Dogs, it causes mass pandemonium, which often derails my experience. Like, I was driving down the street, hit the hat button, drove a car into a police vehicle, and then all the police were on to me for a solid 5 minutes. And I was like, well, I don't want this. I mean, it was fun, but that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, you're a rebel, but you don't want to break the law too much.
Not too. There's a little bit here, a little bit there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Ben, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm British, so, to me, this game was home, really. I'm running around London, there's people saying random stuff. One NPC got out of a car and literally just said farts.
Nonce! Full fat!
And then went back in, then drove off. So it's basically pretty much a British simulator, but stereotype. But I think so far my thoughts pretty much echo Grant's, is that there was just so much going on.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with you guys. I enjoyed what I was able to play, but I definitely think there was just a lot to do. And I think with it, when you have this kind of takes the open world into a new direction where the idea of you can recruit anybody, any of the NPCs is a playable character. All you have to do is just figure out the recruitment mission, and you could be able to add them to your team, and they basically become your player characters, as it were. But there's just so much to do. Like, the fact you can just sort of scan a crowd and basically, like, okay, this person's a barista, this person's a lawyer, this person's a construction worker, this random person's a spy. Okay, all right. Like, it was just like, it's so many different things, and there's so much detail in just each individual person that it almost seems like this game should be impossible, and yet it exists, and we've played it, and I think it's I think we like playing it and like just having so much to do. I just mainly focused in on, okay, you know what are my objectives, what are the little activities I can be able to do, instead of just doing kind of the exploring the world. I just want to, like, okay, let's focus on the stuff that I want to do, and let's just do that and try not to be overwhelmed by everything else around you. We got to see obviously the beginning of the game with the kind of the opening mission / cinematic, and then we were kind of dropped in halfway through the game, so we can be able to kind of do a bunch of different missions and activities with a squad and a team kind of already unlocked for us. As far as accessibility that you saw, did you guys explore the accessibility menus?
Everything that I wanted was there. Not everything worked the way I wanted it to, but everything that I wanted was there.
That's awesome. Ben?
I mean, for me, it's everything that I needed was there, but the problem for me was that the way it was presented wasn't how I would have wanted it.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys. It would essentially, everything is there that I would want, but there's not enough customization of those options that would customize it to completely how I want it. So I think that's like we're going to definitely see that in a lot of games kind of over the next couple of years when they're starting to kind of develop these accessibility settings, that they're going to just add all these options in, but it's going to take a while for studios essentially to be able to customize it, or at least have the player customize it. That makes it easier, or not easier, but just barrier less for to be able to just jump in and play. So let's jump into each individual disability type and what we liked a lot. So Ben, we'll start off with you, because you had you played this a couple of days before we did. As far as from deaf accessibility, how did you feel the game presented some of the options that they had, and did you find were they effective, or what kind of options did you like out of it, and just kind of give your general thoughts?
When I did open up the menu, there was everything that I wanted there. There was full captions, which you've got the option between having no subtitles, subtitles that obviously gives you your key dialogue, and then you've got the full captions, which gives you your key dialogue and also anyone around you that is speaking. And I found that was really good. And I also actually had a directional arrow which pointed to the direction that person's talking. But then there is also another option that I really liked, which kind of reminded me of Far Cry 5, where it's world captions. And on the right-hand lower side of the screen, you'll have like little mini subtitles detailing what's going on around you in terms of the world. So the birds chirping, there was a subtitle for engine running, a crash, just little things like that. And I really liked that, and it helped me understand what was going on around me even more than normal. And as much as I liked it, I also felt like it was a little bit too confusing almost, because you had subtitles, then you've got the full captions, and then you've got like 3 or 4 blocks of captions going on to the right hand side, and I'm trying to read everything that's going on, and then you've got the hub menu, and then you're hacking some game developer's phone who's walking past, or an elderly politician, and there's just so much information there. But in terms of subtitles, everything that I wanted was there, and I was happy that it was there, happy I was able to read it. I just don't know how it could have been made simpler, but it did feel like there was too much being presented in one go.
I had full captions on as well, and it was a lot. Like, there was, like, you had the subtitles of within the cinematic, but then you don't even hear the people talking around you. You just, all I see is just the caption of underneath of what they're talking about, and it's like 2 layers of dialogue happening, and you're kind of confused as to who, like, wait, what am I supposed to be focusing on? And it was cognitively, it was a lot. It was a lot to take in. So I agree with you on that. Grant, what about you? What was it like for you from a mobility standpoint?
My favorite aspect of it was fully customizable controls, which, if any of you know me, that's my major component that I need in any video game. And you don't need to rebind every key. So like, if I bind my aim key to, say, caps lock, which is what I usually do, I don't need to worry about using the right mouse button for something else. I can just leave it and it's fine. They had also, which I found very interesting, your camera would always position itself behind your character whenever you moved, which is going to be really useful for controller layouts. I use the mouse and keyboard, so I didn't use that feature. And then a feature which I found really helpful, but it was sort of, I don't want to say broken because that seems negative, but it didn't work the way I thought it would. Auto aiming. So if you aim, it automatically locks onto a target. But the way the reticle goes is it positions itself in the center of whatever you're shooting at, and it's really problematic for when characters hide behind cover.
I had the exact same problem.
Yep.
And you couldn't sort of like flip the like for me, I was playing on controller, being able to flip the sort of the right thumbstick up so that you can be able to like aim up towards the head, and you could like it wouldn't allow me to do that. So I had to turn auto aim off, but then have targeting set to like strong and magnetized strong, so essentially it would lock on to a person, but but it would still give you the freedom to aim. And I kind of felt like that was the only time I ever felt for auto aim that it just didn't work the way, like you said, like that I would have wanted to. It seemed kind of like it was sort of set up in a different way. I agree with you on that one.
Another feature that I found really nice, auto drive. So when you're in a vehicle and you open your map and you mark a position, like a blue set of arrows appear on the overworld to tell you how to get there. And whenever you get in a vehicle, if you press, for me on the keyboard it was Z, the vehicle drives itself to that position, which was amazing. Like, because I have trouble driving on mouse and keyboard, unless it's Halo style, where basically you're holding W and the vehicle moves with the camera. But most games don't do that. So for this game to have that option in a very vehicle-centric game was very, very nice. The issues that I found most aggravating for me were there was no toggle for sprinting. At least I couldn't find it. So my character was perpetually in like jog, if you will. And then for the areas where your character is slow to a walk, I couldn't really like transition to a jog speed against certain quest areas where you have to be, incognito, if you will. So that was really annoying because those areas took me forever because I couldn't move at normal speed. Another thing that bothered me was whenever you hack certain objects like cameras, conveyor belt, or like window washing units, or even drones, if you want to exit, you have to press escape. There is no other option. And for me, it's very tiring.
Right.
The way escape is positioned for my keyboard and mouse, it was very exhausting, especially in sequences where you would have to hack multiple cameras, multiple systems that require you to manually control them. At the end of those encounters, which involved fighting, hacking, inability to sprint, aiming, so on and so forth, my hands were exhausted. Like I said, it's almost perfect. Like, you can see the finish line. It's not there. Right. And because it's not there, it is problematic.
From the blind accessibility side, I found that there was definitely a lot there, but I think it actually, in a way, for me, was lacking. I think for you guys, for deaf and hard hearing and for motor disabilities, like, it seemed like you had everything there that you wanted, just wasn't customizable the way you wanted it. For me, there was a lot of sort of UI elements that were really hard for me to see. I found that the HUD and some of the menu items were too small and really hard for me to be able to see, especially when you're like I said, when you're trying to move your cursor around to be able to find that specific object that you need to interact with. It was really difficult to find, especially if it's a little bit further off. And I found that it just overall, a lot of the HUD and UI, it wasn't customizable, so that it could be like, you could customize the size of subtitles and certain things, but you couldn't customize the HUD at all, or HUD scaling or anything like that. And the only thing that benefited me on the menu side was that there was text-to-speech.
Villains of London. Previous/next category. B button back.
Now, granted, it wasn't as robust as the text-to-speech in The Last of Us, or from what I've seen, and I sort of equate that to, it is a demo, it's not the final version of the game, but that helped a lot of cases where there was small text in the menus that just made it difficult to be able to see and read at a glance. So I just had the text-to-speech sort of read stuff for me, especially like emails and files that you sort of pick up in the world. So I found that that was something that I kind of wish was there. and it wasn't. And that was kind of the most difficult part. Like, even looking at the map alone, there was so many small icons that I couldn't tell what the heck was I was supposed to be doing. Like, even like, so I don't know, there was small icons that you can be able to sort of do dead sec sort of type activities where you're sort of like, you can either sabotage or you can digitally deface, which is actually a cool mission to do. But trying to be able to see that on the map, it was like a really, really tiny icon. And even when you select that as a waypoint, it comes up as a tiny icon in the world as well. And so, like when I was able to, I was able to do it, but it was a lot of active looking. And I think Grant, I think you mentioned, or no, it was Courtney that you mentioned it in The Last of Us. Like, I never sort of thought about sort of the amount of active listening that Courtney would had to have done for a lot of games. And I kind of felt in this case for me, I had to do a lot of active looking, and it definitely by the end of my 3 or 4 hours, I was kind of mentally exhausted just because of just the amount of information that was on screen at a time. I think there's definitely some things that definitely work well that can help, and I'm trying to think of specific options that, like, other than being able to increase the subtitle size, which was great. I appreciated that. Like I said, like you said, Ben, I think I would have loved to have been able to see that be increased a little bit more. But I would say it doesn't have everything I want, and that's what kind of like hindered me from wanting to be able to fully enjoy this game. And that's the thing. I love this game. I actually really did have a lot of fun. I had a blast going through each missions. I think each activity that you do and every mission, every recruitment mission that you do, I think is an absolute blast to be able to do. But I don't know how it would feel 10, 15, 20 hours into this when it's going to get either repetitive or it's just too much for my eyes, and I would get fatigued. So I think in a way that the visual impairment aspect of accessibility is something that is still missing for me, and it doesn't hit on all the right spots that I would want it to. Okay, so that's kind of our individual thoughts on each of the disability types. But before we finish off this video, let's talk about some of the fun stuff that we got to do, because there's I noticed there was a lot of fun things that are in this that were a blast. Ben, why don't we start with you?
One of the things that I quite liked was the ability to hack a drone and climb on that drone, and then you can travel London on top of the drone. I actually used that to cheat on one of the missions. I needed to sneak into a restricted area, so instead I just got on the drone, flew over, I landed in, done. Yeah, it was so easy.
See, that's the thing. I don't think it's cheating, because they say there's multiple ways to get in, and you just found the shortest path.
I know. There is also your hideout, one of the locations. I'm not sure if it's all of them, but they're all based in a pub.
Yeah.
And me being British, I found right at home, went straight to the bar, and you can drink, and you can get drunk. Mm-hmm. And I think. I know we're not probably really supposed to mention stuff like this, but I drank about 7 pints and the effects didn't go away. And the demoist was saying that this shouldn't be happening for this long, so I had to switch character.
Yeah, so here's the thing with me for that. I went to the same pub too, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep drinking until I pass out, and I did. I drank so much that my character was like, all right, that's it, pass out. And then just everything went black. And then basically I had to choose a different character because it just said my character passed out. I loved it so much.
So I went to that same bar that everyone went to, apparently. Mm-hmm. And there was a dartboard behind the bar. And, we were given a specific amount of time to do this demo, to explore everything it has to offer, get your feet going, running across the city of London, doing things. I spent 30 minutes playing darts.
30 minutes? Really?
30 minutes. It was the best 30 minutes of my life. I thought, this is great. This is so fun.
Oh my god.
And my demoist was like, you're unparalleled. No one can beat you. You're the best dart player ever. It was just so much fun.
I love it. The guy that could barely use his hands was the best at darts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And then, like, I challenged someone to darts. Because you can do solo or versus. And so the first time I challenged someone, the camera bugged out, and I probably shouldn't be saying bugged out. Here we go. And I won without actually doing anything. And so my difficulty went up a rank because it showed that I won. Even though I didn't do it, I was like, oh no.
Oh my god, that's
And I
awesome.
was like, this is amazing.
I didn't do any of the darts because I was like, I was just determined, like, I want to get my guy, like, because I had like an assassin, and I thought, like, I want to see how many drinks it takes to be able to pass it, like, get him to pass out. I think it was up to like 7 or 8 by the time he finally passed out. And I almost forgot. Okay, so back to the base. When you're in the base, did you guys try to customize your weapons at all? Like adding skins to your weapons? Okay. So here's the thing. So, and the demoist actually was kind of impressed too, because I had text to speech on. A lot of the skins that are there, just sort of like, you can't really tell just from the thumbnails, and even when you apply them, what specifically they are. But the text to speech actually has a name for each individual one. So there's one that kind of looks like an Arizona iced tea can, and it kind of has that sort of like that style. But with the text to speech, when you hover over it, it's not called Arizona iced tea. It's actually called
Grandma Core.
It was like so weird. And then there was also like, there was one that was also called Bubblegum with Bullets. And I was like, yes, that totally makes sense. Oh, and the best part, there actually is a skin in there that actually the demoist had seen people use multiple times, but it started deceiving because it looks like it would be camo. But if you look closely, and the demoist didn't know this until I hovered over it with the text to speech, it's actually a bunch of corgis with crowns on them.
Oh my gosh.
And I select that for every single weapon that I had.
Oh my gosh.
It was so dang cute. It was awesome. I loved it. Like, even the demo was like, I have never seen that before. That is awesome. So just like, that's the thing. There's so many little things in here that are just like, it just makes the world fun and kind of adds that sort of fun that the Watch Dogs series has had, but kind of in conjunction with all these serious stuff. To me, it actually, it makes the game much more playable and enjoyable. Even regardless of some of the accessibility stuff that's missing, I think it's like, as a gameplay, it's definitely a lot of fun. All right, cool. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you like this video, click the thumbs up button. If you want to see more of my videos, click the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when new videos come out, make sure you hit the bell notification icon. That's it for us. Stay tuned for more Watch Dogs coverage. If you want to see more of our thoughts and impressions, make sure to go to caniplaythat.com and take a look at some of the coverage that we have there. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. As always, we remain obediently yours. Bye.